in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
Elsley on 1-2 for Ozzie Albies. The pitch on the way. A line drive to second, caught by Gorman for a Redbird winner. The Cardinals win their second road game. They end their 5-game losing streak, and they did it in style. With 12 hits tonight, they scored 10 runs and beat the Braves 10-4.
And that was a needed win for the Cardinals tonight as they knock off the Atlanta Braves. 10-4 the final score. Welcome into the Extra Innings Show, everybody. My name is Matt Pauley. Good to be back with you. I had a few days off. I don't know if you noticed, but I missed talking to you, but I'm back with you. The Cardinals back in the win column, and everything is right in the world, I guess we can say. If you want to join the program, you can do so calling, texting, or tweeting, or leaving a message on the video stream. So this is the way you connect with the program, and people are already texting in. We'll get to some of these texts in just a moment. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's the number to text. That is also the number to call in. So if you want to call into the show, you can call that exact same number. If you have not yet saved that number in your phone, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it's always handy to have 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. You don't have to follow me to tweet at me. I always appreciate the follows, but we'll look at all those tweets as we go through the program. And then for those of you who are watching on our various social media channels, you can just comment on the video stream. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We are on Twitter. And you can just comment. Just a reminder for you, we love for as many people as possible to head to our YouTube channel at KMOX Sports and make sure to like and subscribe and do all that sort of stuff with the YouTube channel. And then whenever we go live, whether it's this show, whether it's Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour, Gas House Gang, Sports on a Sunday morning, whatever it is, when KMOX Sports is live, you just get the notification right there via YouTube. It's a great way to stay connected with everything we're doing here at 104.1 FM at KMOX, and specifically our KMOX Sports department. So that's the ways to get connected, and we will certainly get to some of these comments that are coming in just a few moments. I was joking with our producer, Kyle Sixt, a few moments ago. Nate Gatter was in for me on Friday and then yesterday. Man, oh, man, did he have some games to talk about with some decisions that were made that were certainly controversial. This game was one where it's a little bit tougher to find the controversy. I have to laugh a little bit, and I'm gonna go after one of our texters a little bit in good fun. But this is, I think the texter represents many people who are thinking the exact same thing. So, first off, he had said, why in the world is Nolan Gorman hitting third? He's at very best a 7-hole hitter. Most of the time, he shouldn't even be in the lineup. Stupidity reigns. And then a little while later adds on and says, got to pinch hit for Gorman against the lefty. Is Marmol even watching the game? He's begging the Cardinals to fire him. Why won't they? So I bring that up. And again, that was an extreme version, that the person texting there, that was an extreme version of an opinion. But I do think there was a shared opinion among many Cardinals fans in this game that Nolan Gorman, earlier in the contest, when the Cardinals had the chance to do something, should have been lifted for somebody else. And they went with Gorman in a run scoring opportunity. Gorman did not come through, and that's, I think, when we got that text message, because the Cardinals were sitting there trying to come back and were not looking great in that moment. And then, somewhat ironically, Gorman ends up being the guy who has the biggest hit of the game. He has the 3-run double. And look, just because he does that later, like, I'm not trying to justify another decision that was made, but I do want to remind people of something. And Oliver Marmol talked about this before the game today. Yeah, and by the way, the thing that frustrated me about all this 5-game losing streak that the Cardinals had over the last few days, the thing that's frustrating me a lot is I think the Cardinals, and people are going to like laugh at what I'm about to say, and I don't care. I believe what I'm about to say. I think the Cardinals have shown enough that they've shown that they can contend in this division. And I think some of these losses that they have had the last few days have been incredibly frustrating because it feels like these were games that were there for the taking. And you got to win games like that. And so for me, in this first month of the season, I've even gone a little bit from, okay, transition season to, you know what? You look around the division, you look at what's happening. You've got some guys who are taking a step forward. This team's got a shot. And that's what's happened with what's happening in the bullpen. That's incredibly frustrating because I thought that was going to be an area of strength for this team, and it hasn't been. It has been an area that has very much struggled and has very much cost the team some games. And if I'm going to sit here and believe that I think this team can contend in the division, well, then I'm really frustrated when there are winnable games and they don't win them. So I say all that to get to this point. As much as I think that this Cardinals team does actually have a legitimate chance to contend for a playoff spot, I also recognize the fact that this continues to also be a year where there's got to be some questions answered about what they have in some players. And Nolan Gorman is one of those players. And Oliver Marmol talked about it in his pregame media session today, that they're about to give Nolan Gorman an extended run, an extended opportunity here, that he's going to be in the lineup more often than not, and they're going to start to really see what they have in Nolan Gorman because he just hasn't gotten the opportunity so far this year. So we are going to see Gorman in the lineup more often than not. So far this year, the numbers aren't bad, by the way, for Gorman this year. He's 36 at bats over 11 games, so it is a ridiculously small sample size. But he's got a 761 OPS. Of his 9 hits, he's got 4 doubles and a home run, so he's hitting extra bases. 7 RBIs coming off of those 9 hits. Again, slugging at 444. So again, tiny sample size, but it starts to give you an idea of what he is. And again, some of those numbers are him coming right off the injured list without doing a rehab assignment. And he did not look very good when he first came off the injured list. So that's the give and take of this season. As much as you or me may want this team to always be making decisions that seemingly give them the best opportunity to win in the moment, there's also going to be something where at times they're going to make a decision. Again, we're going to use the word that they've used a million times over about runway. And today, Nolan Gorman got runway. And the first opportunity for Gorman to come through with that runway, he did not come through, right? And again, he only had the 1 hit in the game. But there in the 3rd inning, he grounded out. They left a couple runners on there. And then the strikeout in the 5th inning, and of course the big fly out there in the 6th inning when they left the bases loaded. That's when they had a little bit of momentum, and they had tied the game up 4-4. And then he comes up to the plate with the bases loaded, and he ends up flying out. And there's a lot of Cardinals fans that did not want him taking that bat and wanted him out of the game. But they leave him in the game to give him that opportunity, and they leave him in the game to give him later opportunities, and he does come through in the 8th inning with the double. And as hard as it might be at times this year, that's going to be part of what this season is about, and you're going to see more moves that are made like that as the year goes along. Let's grab Irvin, who has given us a call. Hey, Irvin, you're on the Extra Innings Show.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was I thought that Victor Scott looked good. He hit some key hits and stuff, and he's looking like he's going to be a pretty good player playing center field for the Cardinals. Go Victor Scott, go Cardinals. Thank you.
Awesome. Great call. Thanks, Irvin. Appreciate the call. Victor Scott looked awesome today. He looked awesome. He was 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. He draws a walk as well. He was aggressive on the bases. He doesn't have a stolen base, but he ran the bases well. And you know, we'll see Michael Ciani back on this team again at some point in time. But for Victor Scott, I'm excited about the fact that he's just a center fielder now, and he doesn't have to worry about the going over to right field when Michael Ciani comes in and that sort of thing. I'm actually, again, and I never really thought that Michael Ciani fit perfectly well on this roster. I thought there were other guys who were better than Ciani to help the team win. It's a shame that Michael Ciani is at AAA because Ciani is clearly a major league player and he's clearly one of the best defensive outfielders playing the game. But just when you look at the sum of the parts on this roster and the way that the Cardinals are going to have to win games this year, there are other guys that can help the team win games more than having what they're calling as a defensive closer. And Jordan Walker has put together a really, really good defensive season, and he's got a very strong throwing arm in right, and he's getting better. So I'm excited for Jordan Walker getting the opportunity to play late into games in the outfield. I'm excited that Victor Scott just gets to be the center fielder and go there. Like, there's a lot of the way the roster is going to be forced to be maneuvered now with Ciani not on the roster. I like a lot of what's going to happen as a result of it. Let's grab Henry, who has sent us a message. Says, I've been listening in on Odyssey, and I trust this team will contend. I trust Ali and this coaching staff. 12-25. I don't know about all that, but he says they'll make a run this year. I agree that they can contend in the division. I still believe. Yeah, there's a difference between contending in the division and contending for a championship. With all due respect to the Cardinals, and I think I'm as friendly to this team as anybody out there. I see the really good parts of this team. There are better teams in the National League. There are teams that are more built for deep postseason runs, but that's the Cardinals are hoping to get back to that point, right? Like this is a process here. It starts with getting the undercarriage fixed again, and that's the drafting and development and all that sort of stuff that needs to take place. So those are the things that need to get fixed. And if they can contend, if they can be a winning team, if they can be fighting for a playoff spot into the final month of the season, all the while they're trying to fix these other things, I think that's a win for everybody. And the team is still an entertaining team to watch for sure. All right, we will. I've got a ton of text messages to get to, so we will certainly get to those coming up in just a moment. A reminder for you that the Extra Innings Show is presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up in just a moment. This is the Extra Innings Show right here on KMOX.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established businesses,
consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
In this 4-4 game, here's the 1-ball, 1-strike pitch. Swung on, ripped down the right field line, fair ball! That goes to the corner. 2 runs are going to score. Contreras comes around third. Here's the relay to the plate, the slide, safe onto third, Nolan Gorman. A 7-4 lead for the Cardinals in the 8th.
10-4, Cardinals get the win over the Braves. Welcome back in. We're rolling on with the Extra Innings Show right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us. Again, if you want to check in, you can do so by calling, texting, tweeting, or by leaving a message on our video stream to call or text. The phone number is the same for either one, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. Tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, or if you are watching on any of our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever they might be. Just go ahead and leave a comment, and we will see those comments come into our digital studio, as we call it, and we'll be able to respond to those as we go along after the Cardinals win by a 10-4 score. All right, tons of text messages to get to. Let's go ahead and start rolling. Text message from the 573. We needed that win. The offense did their thing, and Mats did a great job of coming in for Palante. Those are the big takeaways, right? Those are the big takeaways from this game. Cardinals scored 8 runs in the final 4 innings. That's really good to see. And for this team to win a lot of games this year, they're not going to have to always score 10 runs on 12 hits, but they're going to have to be a good offensive club. And just to see some success out of the bullpen, Mats, Leahy, and Helsley all did their job today, and Mats was the most impressive because he had to come in after Andre Palante couldn't get out of the 5th inning, and he went ahead and got 8 outs. So that was good to see. But this is kind of not that they have to score 10 runs, but generally speaking, this is the framework of what this team needs to get: a good offensive day in addition to good results from the bullpen. And they hadn't been hitting and scoring quite as much recently, and the bullpen had really been performing at a not very good level. And you do those two things happen, and you don't win games. So those two things happen, and you do win games, right? Text message from the 618. We needed this win. Great game, good energy. Teamwork shines through. This is a working team in progress, and it worked tonight. I'll take it one game at a time. I don't predict and I don't expect perfection. Yeah, you're not going to get perfection. That is for sure. But you can get fun, you can get entertainment, and hopefully you can get enough wins that they can continue to find a way to be interesting all season long and be playing for something as the season goes along. Our guy, Ball Game, very loyal texter after every win, always gives his tip of the cap and raises the glass tonight. Says, goes to the kid enjoying the home cooking, Victor Scott II. Yeah, of course, he is from, grew up in the Atlanta area. He says, it's easy to press and squeeze the bat too hard. An extra base hit via hustle or stolen base. I feel he's also been so instrumental in the defensive comfort and improvement of Jordan Walker in right field. They're friends and family in the stand. You gotta love his approach at the plate, but more importantly, the threat he is to the defense to lay one down or take. That's what we're witnessing. Our texting system is not always easy for putting these things together. When we have long text, I have to put it together like a puzzle. But I get the idea of what you were saying right there. 812 says, great game tonight. Steven Matz was amazing. Wilson is starting to heat up. The best at bat Wilson Contreras had today was his walk, down 0-2, and takes a couple tight pitches, but good eye. And he's able to work the walk, and that allows Nolan Gorman to come up to the plate. 573 says, I think I prefer Mats as a long relief pitcher over a starter, especially with the state the bullpen is. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation to be had because generally speaking, starting pitching is so much more valuable than relief pitching. Even go look at how much the highest paid closer makes and go look at how much the highest paid starting pitcher makes, and they're not even generally in the same stratosphere. Even better, go look at what like a middle rung starter makes when Frankie Montas and Matthew Boyd and Luis Severino are making like $20 million a year. Like that tells you everything you need to know about starting pitching. It is incredibly more valuable. So I like the idea of when Steven Matz is pitching well, and I think he is pitching well right now, I like the idea of Matz as a starter because I think he can be more impactful as a starter if he's pitching well every 5th day, going deep into the game, yada, yada, yada. That being said, in the part of your text that I think is a keen observation is the fact that the bullpen's a mess right now, and they need everything and anything that can stabilize it out. And the first thing that you can get from a stabilizing standpoint is starters that go deep into games. The second thing is relief pitchers that perform well, especially can give you multiple innings. So good on the Cardinals for, I think, taking Matz out of the rotation this time through when they didn't need a 6th starter. It's some like Matz right now on this roster. Matz is one of the 5 best starters, but he's also somebody that can work out of the bullpen. So it's putting together some puzzle pieces that maybe don't completely connect together, and trying to make the best version of the final result of the puzzle, if that analogy is going to work its way all the way through. So I understand why people like Matt's in relief, and historically, like what we've seen with him as a reliever in his time with the Cardinals has been really, really good. But I just think Matt's in a really good spot right now, and I was happy with what we saw when he started the one game against Houston, went 5 innings, allowing just a run on 2 hits, wasn't stretched all the way out for that game. So we'll see what ends up happening with everything. Like all these issues in the rotation, stuff in baseball works itself out. It really does works itself out before all is said and done. Donnie has given us a call. Hey, Donnie, you're on the Extra Innings Show.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Happy Earth Day.
Same to you. Is that today? Was today Earth Day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a station event next week. That is our Earth Day event. I thought that's when it was, but maybe I should pay more attention to the different holidays going on. But let's talk some baseball. What do you have for me?
So I want to talk about Kyle Leahy today. How about him with 7 pitches, 7 strikes in the bullpen? I liked how healthy he pitched a little bit. A lot of pitching for him as usual, but I think the bullpen kind of held up for one time, and that's all I got.
Okay. Appreciate the phone call, Donnie. Yeah. So we're probably not talking about Kyle Leahy enough. He's been just really good. You want to talk about positive surprises this year? Is there a more positive surprise than Kyle Leahy? Leahy last year was the mop-up dude. He was the pitch multiples in games that the Cardinals are out of guy. Now, Cardinals had bullpen issues last year, and occasionally he would get the high leverage opportunity, and he came through, but that was never his role. That was just something that he had to do sometimes. But Bernie Miklasz, by the way, brings it up a lot, and Bernie's right. Bernie brings up his high leverage numbers from last season and says, you know what? This guy has shown that when he gets the high leverage opportunity, he's able to come through. And I think Bernie's right. He's not going to have a 1.80 ERA, I don't think, at the end of the season. I don't know if he's going to average a strikeout per inning. Right now, 15 strikeouts, 3 walks, and an 0.83 average against in 15 innings. It's crazy. His whip is 0.47. A whip of 1 is good. And it's half of good. So it's twice as good, I guess, would be the better way to say it. I can't say enough things about what we have seen from Kyle Leahy. And to me, he has turned into one of the 3 guys in the bullpen that you can really, really rely on. It's Ryan Helsley, it's Phil Maton, and it's Kyle Leahy. And I know Maton has given up some runs here recently. Also, if I would have been hosting this show last night, one of my talking points is, what in the world are you doing with Phil Maton? Are you trying to get his arm to fall off? Because he pitched in his 13th game in the Cardinals. What was it, 23rd game yesterday or 25th game, whatever it is. Way too much. Like, he's pitched in more than half the games. You got to find some other guys to do things. Leahy's being used a lot too. That was Leahy's 12th appearance. But the Cardinals and Oliver Marmol, they're trying to go get wins. They are trying to go get wins, and that's part of, and they're trusting the guys who have shown that they have the ability to be trusted. And so I get that. I understand what they are doing, but for sure, Kyle Leahy's been good. Ryan Helsley was good. Helsley got squeezed a little bit on a couple of those walks. I will be curious to see if he's available tomorrow. I'm not convinced he will be, and not even so much because of his pitch count. His pitch count, I'm not worried about his pitch count at 22, but just pitching on back-to-back days with a day game after a night game, I kind of wonder if it's a 50-50 proposition on if he's going to be available tomorrow. If the Cardinals are up by a run in the 8th inning, I am going to be very curious to see whether or not he gets up and is warming, because I'm not totally convinced that he's going to be available tomorrow. I hope he will be. And Phil Maton will be back available tomorrow, but Kyle Leahy will not be available tomorrow. And Miles Michaelis is pitching, so you don't know how much you're going to get out of him. Also, I think the Cardinals have shown, especially with Michaelis's last appearance, and Michaelis talked about this in his last game, I should say. He talked about the fact that he realizes that the Cardinals don't fully trust him right now, and he has to regain that trust for sure. Extra Innings Show being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Again, if you want to get involved in the program, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. A few more text messages to get to before we call today. From the 812 says we need the win tomorrow. What do you think about Miles Michaelis? Yeah, we're just talking about Michaelis a little bit. He has obviously looked better his last couple times out, and that's been good to see. You still want him to build upon that. You still want to get a little bit more length. I mean, over his last 2 games, even though he's given up a total of 5 runs, which is fine, he hasn't even thrown 10 innings. He's only gone 9 2/3 innings over those last 2 games. So he is continuing to try to get. But I mean, that was a whole lot better than what he did against Boston, where he gave up 9 runs on 11 hits and did not make it out of the 3rd inning. So we've obviously seen better from Michaelis here lately. And to that point, a text message from the 618 says, at what point will the organization commit to runway for arms in place of Michaelis? We've talked about this a fair amount. The team is very concerned right now about starting pitching depth. And with that, I think they're slow playing Michael McGreevy. And really, McGreevy's the only guy at Memphis who's healthy right now, who you would feel really comfortable just having start a big league game tomorrow, right? Quinn Matthews is injured, and I don't even know how comfortable you would be with him. Some other guys, Gordon Graceffo, I think profiles out more as a relief pitcher. So that's why they're doing this whole 6-man rotation thing, because they can't have a year where they start 13 different guys this year, because they don't have 13 different guys to start. And they don't have 10 guys to start. They've got 7 starting pitchers right now that can start big league games. And 8, if you include Quinn Matthews, not quite sure when he's going to be back and be healthy. So that's why you talk about runway, you talk about leash. That's part of the reason why there's a lot more leash right now for a Miles Michaelis, because if you move on from Michaelis, and then you at that point, all depth is completely gone. From the 256, a question about forcing Gorman in the line. We talked about this earlier. Again, if you were not listening earlier, would encourage you to go back on the archive, on the video. Just look, they're giving Gorman runway. They want to figure out who he is. He is mostly produced, by the way, at the big league level. Nolan Gorman has 326 games, and over his 326 games, he has a 738 OPS. That's an above average OPS. Over 326 games, he has 61 home runs. I know he looked bad at the end of last season. He's got a lot more good than bad in his major league career, and there's a lot of people that don't want to look at that. And I'll take the numbers he's putting up right now. Tiny sample size, 761 OPS. Take it all day. Take it all day from him. That's who he is. A guy who can give extra base hits. I will absolutely take it. What's on Deck is sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have, the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. The series wraps up tomorrow. Again, Miles Michaelis on the mound. 0-2, 7.64 ERA. Bryce Elder goes for the Braves. 0-1, 7.20 ERA. 11:15 first pitch. Our coverage, 10:20 tomorrow morning. We'll talk tomorrow for more Cardinals baseball here on KMOX.
Celebrating their 57th year in business, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been one of St. Louis's top names in home improvement, with a commitment to put quality and professional